Alright friends, we continue with this deathmatch campaign here on Tactical Enlightenment. This YouTube channel is dedicated to helping you get better at Bannerlord through the use of advanced field command and tactics. And as you can see here, we are in another situation where a battle is likely. I moved north a little bit. This Western Empire force sort of tailed me. And now there is a Battanian force here as well. It's not a large force, but neither now is ours. Our companions have healed a little bit, but we're still in a very precarious situation. Now, all of this, I'm just trying to fucking defend our main capital here, Attrition, and this feels like one of those video games where you got to fight through like levels of bosses just to get to the final boss here. They're closing in. Let's see how many this is. Emperor Utos is going to join the vanquished here, or so we hope. 500. What is this shit? This guy trying to marry our... No. Why the fuck in the middle of a war would I allow you to take a woman out of our ranks? She's going to be busy slaughtering you guys on the battlefield today. No deal. So we're outnumbered 3-1 in this battle here, but this is good. Now we're finally getting some battles here in the bridge area. These are highly defensible maps. Of course, they attacked us, so we can play defense here, defense. And I've got this side bridge here at the back. Now it's not optimal. Because I'm not sure if the enemy's going to approach us directly, right? I want them to attack us across one of these bridges where we can narrow their forces, basically turn the size of their army on its head and make it so that it's more or less a fair fight. But because of the nature of where we're positioned at the beginning of this battle, it's possible that the enemy will attack us from behind here, from this other side here. So I'm going to take a look and see kind of what the enemy's doing. Of course, reconnaissance is one of the most important parts of being a good field commander. You must have the information to make a good decision. And it looks like they're considering coming across the bridge. They might send horse archers across, but the bulk of their forces looks like it's coming directly at the bridge here, which is exactly what we want. Of course, in the disastrous state of the American political system, the American information system, all these citizens out there, right, are dealing with the same problem, right? Where to get your information to actually make good decisions, and unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be any real good options for that. So I digress here. They've got a lot of archers, so I'm actually going to pull our archers back here because I think they will just joust at range here, and we're not going to win that battle. We have 120 archers. They have 300 and reinforcement waves. I can't afford these guys to take a bunch of arrows in exchange. We have to win these battles decisively here if we're going to have any chance of actually defending our capital. So they do have horse archers behind us here, but they're kind of going to the other side where our troops are, so I'm going to fly in here. I'm dragging a cav division behind me. Although it looks like they're just making a drive-by and they're trying to run through. I don't have any troops to bottle them up, but I'm content just to send them off with 4 or 5 dead bodies and retreat again here. See, their archers are shooting at us. They have 300 archers over there. And anytime the CPU, the AI, has an advantage of ranged units, it will generally use that advantage. So here's what we're going to do. Here's my idea. I'm going to position troops behind this rock. You see this dell to the left here in this rock. I think we can basically sit here like you would behind cover in any kind of first-person shooter game or any other game, right? Where you're staying out of danger from the enemy. We're going to force them to come onto this bridge. They've got 300 infantry and 300 archers, so they have more infantry than we have total troops, and they have more archers than we have total troops. But what they don't have is they don't have a huge amount of cavalry. If they had a huge amount of cavalry, this would be a failing strategy because they would just simply come over here, attack us with cav, attack us with the other divisions, and overwhelm us. They have 60 cav. I'm more than happy to take on those guys over here if they want to charge across. And they do look like they're coming across. So these guys here, we're going to stay exactly where we are, and we're going to ball up. We're going to form squares and shield walls here, and we're basically just going to, this is like the defensive stage of a boxing match, right? We're holding up our gloves here. We're trying to deal with the blows that the enemy's trying to put on us. I've got guys that are still being shot, so I got to tuck these guys in even further. Not only to expedite this battle, but I don't want our guys taking arrows, right? I want us to be shooting if they're going to be shooting. So we're going to tuck everybody in here to this little nook of this rock. I don't really have a name for this tactic. You could definitely come to some name with this. But what we're effectively going to do once the enemy changes tactics is we're going to blitz them. It might actually makes sense to call this a blitz. Now, I've done this before where you have a short ridge when you don't have a lot of archers, but you have a short ridge and you can force the enemy to come over that short ridge to attack you. Then you suddenly burst out of it, spread your troops, flank the enemy, and obliterate them. We're not really going to be able to do that here because, okay, here, they're starting to come across the bridge. But here's what I'm planning on doing. I'm planning on bringing units forward and sort of paralyzing them halfway across the bridge. They've got some infantry trickling up here. We can kill some of these stragglers. What we want is them to commit, and this is pretty much committed. They're like right in the middle of the bridge. Their archers are kind of bundled up on the middle of the bridge because they want to spread out and try to get line of sight on us, but we're not going to let them. This is going to be a flurry of motion. We're going to bring up units, we're going to bring up archers, we're going to attack with cav because we want them basically frozen right where they are. We can spread out archers in two big long lines before they can, right? Their troops are all jumbled up there. They're like guys at a theater where someone yells fire. They're all going to try to scramble. Look at their horse archers are actually jamming in on the other side over there. Look at that. Their horse archers and cav is trying to charge, and it's getting in the way of the infantry. It's like the Battle of the Crater in the Civil War. If I get a minute, I'll reference that. I know some guys like to know a little bit of history with their Bannerlord destruction. All right, so spreading out archers, I'm going to get an infantry line set up right in front of them, and then we're going to get the 4th crossbowman over where I'm standing here. We are going to have a bit of a ranged battle, but there's a big advantage we have. The enemy is jumbled up, the enemy is sort of entrapped on the bridge, and our archers are going to be able to spread out and absolutely eviscerate everything in sight. Now, I'm charging with infantry here, not because I think I have an infantry advantage, but because I don't want the enemy to be able to spread out on our side. Right? I want to protect our archers as they spread out, and I also want to pin the enemy in place. We're killing nobles here with random javelin shots. That's a sign of good fortune here. Now I'm going to put this infantry line in a shield wall right in front of the 4th crossbowman. That way they're protected a little bit from enemy bolts. We can put the 6 skirmishers here on the right, and those guys will be lobbing in javelins with me. You got to get these guys more spread. These are the 5th archers. We got like 60 Battanian Fianchamps now. And the enemy's trying to push across with infantry. So if we have to, we will aggressively charge this, right? I have the 1st and 6th here in nice knotted rows. And what we've effectively done here is lure the enemy into not only a bridge battle, but their fucking archers are penned up. Their archers, I can actually see, are physically stuck between their cav at the back and their infantry on our side, right? Our infantry on our side. They're having a very difficult time spreading out, and so we're just going to be able to lay waste to them. Now, I do see their archers starting to trickle out and set up formations, but we're already set up. Our machine gunners are already going to work. And the screen represents that, right? It's an absolute massacre. We've basically manipulated the enemy into a very bad spot here, and just like the Battle of the Crater, it's highly destructive. I've got our infantry holding them back beautifully. Most of our units right now are just having a field day, right? They understand that their general is superior to the enemy's general. We've put them in a position to dominate, and they are appropriately dominating. I mean, we're facing elite troops, legionnaire, etc., but our troops just have the better positioning, the better tactics. Now I want to push in here on the enemy because I don't want them to be able to spread out. As soon as they start to spread out with their archers, we're going to be on them. We want to fly in here recklessly, past their infantry, past their cav, and obliterate these guys. They're actually trying to reform all the way around the valley here. You can just hear the arrows obliterating these guys. As they're reforming, right, I'm dragging 2 Cav Corps and the 8th Corps behind me, and we're just going to hammer these guys. Now I want to keep the pressure up on them. We're going to come fight on this side because at this stage we have tactically already won this battle. Now it's just a matter of sort of finishing the deal here. Now the Battle of the Crater narration, well, that'll have to wait for a slower episode here. This is fast and furious. We've got the enemy on the run. Now they were able to clear out of there pretty well, and that's partly because we destroyed everything that was not able to, right? It looks like they all escaped, but mostly they all got killed. We got that rock for a defensive line. We could form a spreading formation here of different archers. Our lines are now still intact, like we suffered very few losses there, and we have our best archers still, right? We still have Battanian Fianchamps we can bring up in lines. Our infantry is largely unaffected. We can bring them up in lines. Alright, so all our troops are with me at this stage. It is tempting to try more tactics here. The enemy is highly manipulatable. Like, you can definitely fuck with them depending on how you set your units up. So we're going to change gears again here. I'm going to set up on the far side of the bridge here. It looks like I have enemy cav behind us here. So I've got to watch my health. I've had a very good battle from that side of things. We're gonna definitely counter this cav charge behind us here. I'm gonna send infantry to charge their cav there. We'll put an infantry in a square ball so that their cav can't really do a lot of damage to it. And now we're gonna counter this cav charging us from behind here. They're getting shot off their mounts. Their sad cavalry attack behind us is nullified. Now I've got infantry charging the enemy, and I'm actually going to leave those guys there for the time being, because what I want to do is I want to occupy. I want to isolate the enemy. I want to get our units spread out here beautifully, and that infantry division is kind of stalling the enemy from setting up their formations. Now we're going to try to get them to this side in a shield wall. We've got archers spread out in a big line, and this is obviously, it should look familiar, right? The difference is that we're already set up. We have high level archers, and so we can just shoot these guys. But I'm not content with just that, right? We're gonna, you fucking asshole spearing me. I'm not content with just that, right? We're gonna fuck with their forces. I'm gonna be able to spread out units here on their side because they haven't gotten to the bridge yet. That first infantry division did a really good job of delaying the enemy. Holy fuck, some guy just drilled me in the head with the perfect javelin throw. I lost like fucking a third of my health into one shot. Wow, they're already taking a pounding from our archers. I have infantry now confronting them. That way they're not going to be able to spread out on our left flank. And in go our units here. We send in aggressively here. They're fucking throwing 1,000 javelins at me. It's a matter of time before I'm taken out here. They have a ton of ranged units. So our infantry's driving in. Our infantry, 8th Corps, 6th Corps, are both driving in hard on the enemy here, and our archers, of course, still have perfect positioning. Across the bridge, they're basically free of most danger. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that. Sometimes I try to encourage the enemy to rout with that type of behavior. Here, we can take this guy again with his shield. The AI took over briefly and had these guys charging. Whoops. Well, on to the next guy. That guy took an arrow right in the back of the head. This guy will work here. He's almost a identical model of my character. He doesn't have an axe, but he has a good pole arm. Oh, I've got reinforcements right on this side. All right, so we're going to have these guys stop, spread out, and start shooting. We're going to have this infantry division that just popped up in reinforcements bore into the enemy over here. I've got a cav division here that I can control and run around. We can wipe out their lords. The main enemy force is a long ways away. They're actually trying to reform, and they're reforming right into the teeth of our reinforcements. These are, I thought these were our Battanian Fiendshamps. These are theirs. So strangely, the Western Empire has a huge amount of Battanian Fiendshamps here. You see our archers are now squishing them, trapping them between our reinforcements and where they're trying to reform to, and it's just an absolute massacre. They're going to get a kill here and there, but this is obviously a great situation for us. Now, it's not too early to start setting up our lines here for this next wave. This is probably the last major enemy wave. It looks like they're sending archers first to skirmish. We're going to come in here with cav, though, and then just start to shake these guys up. Archers don't like being attacked by a heavy horse, of course. Anytime you can get in here, a horse, of course. Anytime you can get in here and disrupt them, that's pretty beneficial for your troops. It's going to take a little second here for us to set up, but once we do, we're going to still have pretty solid troops here. We're going to be able to bore in on them with an infantry line. Certainly skirmish with these low-level archers. and continue this punishing route. This guy's fast on his horse. This guy is another perfect example of how the RTS mod does a pretty good job of just filling right in for, well, I spoke too soon. Of course, he gets dropped. Let's see, I think we got one other companion to take here. This is a foot polearm troop of mine. She's got like high athletics and a really long polearm. She's got bow skill too, but look at how long her polearm is. She looks like something out of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or whatever that is, where she had like this big long pole, swinging it fast and just obliterating everybody. We'll move our troops up here. It's nice to continue to command. And I guess in a way I can continue to work on some of my skills here. It's been a long time since I picked up a bow and had to do some thread the needle type shots like this. We'll get a little practice here. Of course, my main character Vlandian has almost 300 archery himself. I just, typically I'm throwing javelins instead of shooting with a bow. But it's nice to sort of work on my skills. Of course, this is much easier with the 4K monitor. If you're not used to using a 4K monitor, I can tell you, obviously, a nice big monitor sure helps you with pinpoint accuracy on archers at a long distance. Kind of amazing, actually, what you can do. Reminds me of the sniping days way long ago when I would play a first-person shooter game. Most of you guys probably weren't even born when I was playing those kind of games. So that wave is dissolved. I think that might be it. Yeah, the enemy wave is basically dissolved here. We've got some cav we can send to pursue the rest of their troops here. Oh, she can't even get on a horse. Okay, well, and we'll let our mounted knights chase them down. But ultimately, this is going to count as another success, right? 180 losses and defeated another large force, a bunch more upgrades. That's certainly going to help. But it is a war of attrition here, right? This is just, I can't even remember how many battles this is we've won. This is another battle that we've had to fight just to try to get in, defend our capital. It's gotten pretty exhaustive. In fact, I'm exhausted. I need a break. I got to go get some food. I got to get some daylight so I don't turn into a troll. Yeah, 1,500 and 200 retreated. Main character's dropped, but he'll come back with 30% hit points because I have that perk, right? That's a nice perk if you don't know about that. As usual, we'll release all these nobles, trying to make things as hard as possible. Right? So sometimes if you see non-stop troops heading our way, part of the reason is that these nobles immediately get released and they go back to their retainers and say, hey, we need more troops, we need more money because we keep losing. Bring more. And for the challenge of things, on my side of things, I say, sure, bring more. So you can see I'm down to 370 from our original 1,500. It's kind of amazing. So I think I'm going to take a little break here between episodes. I'll probably snip these together later. So this is interesting. Now our army is so small that we're being attacked by smaller armies like this. I'm surprised the enemy actually attacked here, as the power bar has us favored to win this battle. So we're going to put our lowest quality units forward, hopefully get them as much experience as possible. But I don't think it actually matters here. These Battanian forces, like the rest of Calradia right now, seems intent on just wearing us out here, one battle at a time. I mean, it's amazing that we went from an army of 1,500 down to 400, up to 1,500 again, and now we're back to 400 again, just through the war of attrition. But these Battanians are about to find out that even numbers on the battlefield here, 350 versus 350 doesn't mean a damn thing as we bring our archers forward here. I'm not going to endanger myself too much, or at least try not to. We'll see how many archers they have, but this is going to be a straight experience situation here. We're going to be able to level up some of our lowest level troops here. Well, I guess I better not count my chickens before they hatch here, but I would be shocked if we both lost this battle or if I got knocked off my horse. We're going to bring up Cav here in shield wall lines. There's not a lot of tactics that I need to do here. In fact, my tactics have a lot to do with trying to level up as many of these units as possible. So I'm not going to try to attack the enemy with as much infantry as I normally would. We're just going to spread huge archer lines to make sure that every single archer, from the Battanian Fiends all the way down to the Highborn Warriors, are getting into this battle, right? So that they're getting experience, so that they're getting kills, and hopefully we gain even more levels out of this, more Battanian Fiend champs. I've just got a line of Cav shield wall here, and the enemy's kind of clashing up against it. We'll have no choice but to fight some of these infantry with our infantry. I'm not going to be able to get my archers up in time here, but the main thing I'm trying to accomplish here, besides winning, of course, is to get these guys experience, get this, 150 archers experience. Now, I see about half of them look like they're either Battanian Fiend champs or Battanian Fiends. So those guys obviously can't gain more experience, but we're still going to be gaining a lot of experience with some of our lower level units here. Ironically, their force resembles ours, right? They have a lot of sort of mid to low to mid to tier archer. They have some Battanian Fiend champs here towards the front. We'll have to prioritize them, right, because they're going to be doing major damage to us. But ironically, this is almost like an archer duel with both sides, with a lot of the Battanian Fiend lines. We can disrupt their infantry or their archer line some with the Cav line. That'll certainly help prevent losses. And then hopefully, finally, we're able to make a defensive Epicrocio. At this stage, though, the problem is I need to heal now for a while. Each successive battle, these setbacks are injuring our troops to the point where obviously I can't make a defensive Epicrocio with 350 troops. We're going to have to rest a little bit, but it seems like every time we pull back to rest, right, every time we try to wait for a half a day, the enemy has 2 more armies attacking us. So I'm kind of caught between a rock and a hard place here. I don't have much choice. There's obviously no other nobles I can call to us at this stage. We've got castles under siege throughout the empire, and of course our main capital is under siege by these. It looks like it's about 2,700 Khuzait force. All right, these guys are being whittled down. They're taking longer to kill these guys than I expected. I know this isn't like a dramatic tactical battle, but sometimes I guess people want to see more of the campaign, so we're going to show you these parts of the battle. Right? These are the kind of things that everybody playing Bannerlord has to go through. You're going to have these battles where victory is assured, but you have to go through the motions. Now, you can auto-resolve this. In fact, auto-resolve sometimes does a pretty good job, but it also sometimes does a disastrous job, and with the exception of siege defenses, which almost seems broken, you can have 400 or 500 men hold off 2,000 with auto-resolve, and it'll usually succeed. Whereas you probably couldn't do that if you played the battle out. Auto-resolve in this situation, what I have learned is that in big battles, if you're in a campaign and you're not using auto-resolve, there is a big advantage. You get, the system essentially gives you what seems to me like an unreasonable amount of upgrades. I might even do that the next time we have this type of battle where victory is assured, and we're just trying to gain some levels. The next time you're in a situation to do so, you got a battle where you're clearly going to win. Play it out by hand like this, and check how many upgrades you get, see how your results are, and then try auto-resolving it. I think you'll be surprised, shocked maybe even by how many upgrades you get. See, we got 63 upgrades here. That's really not very many. And 80 casualties, 16 deaths. That's not actually the results I was looking for here. But we'll soldier forward. We had 27 heroes go up to Fiends. That's good. Some infantry upgraded. And all in all, the bottom line is surviving these battles, right? At this stage of our campaign, victories are victories. We're going to take them any way we can. Like I said, we'll win ugly if we have to. We'll continue to upgrade these troops, and hopefully with a little R&R here, we can make a defensive Epicrocia. There is a sense of urgency, though. Not only are they starving the Citadel out, but other forces just keep fucking coming. For all I know, another Khuzait force is coming to join, or one of these other allied forces is going to join and attack the Citadel here. That's been happening more than you would believe, right? 2,800 Khuzait here. 1,000 defenders inside, but it's almost entirely militia, and they're in an artillery duel. I'm in a stage of my campaign here against all 8 kingdoms where it's interesting. Something that happens a lot is I get attacked at a citadel by more than one kingdom. I had never seen that until like 10 or 15 years ago in my campaign. And it's essentially like 3 countries or 3 kingdoms are trying to siege our castle or city at the same time. It's quite bizarre. It's something I didn't even know was part of the actual mechanics of the game. But here we are. So Epicrucia is still holding out. We're going to have to just heal here, right? I'm going to sort of patrol this area. The Khuzait, it does look like they're starting to assault the keep. They got about 2,800 here. And I'm just in no condition to attack this Khuzait force, right? We have way too many injuries. So again, we're going to rest. Of course, we would rest better inside a city, but obviously I can't get into the city here to actually rest. I can join with these other... yeah, see, they're running from that Khuzait force, even though it's at a siege. Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Another fucking force here. This is Vlandian. Oh my fucking god. Alright, well, let's gather up these nobles at least. What do we have? About 600, maybe 700? Yeah, and of course they're chasing after me, right? They couldn't just go after a castle. The war of attrition here just continues. I mean, what in the fuck? We're going to have to fight these guys. I can't have them chase me across the whole map here because, of course, we want to actually fight Epicrucia. These Khuzaits attacking Epicrucia here. And I think with this force here, we should have a pretty good chance of defeating these Vlandians. But at this stage, my response is, what the fuck is going on here? I mean, every single enemy force seems to be coming to attack us here. I mean, part of the reason, of course, is they're coming to sack Mekalovia Castle, and then they see us as a tasty morsel and launch into battle. But man, this is getting fucking exhausting. Probably another bridge battle here. Yeah, okay. So at least, well, this is bad, though. We're a long ways away from the bridge, and the Vlandians are right there. So this is, you know what I'm going to do here, folks? I think this is a perfect situation to charge, to F1, F3 with all our units, because I want them getting to that bridgehead as fast as possible. If Vlandian and their 500, 600, 700 heavy cav gets across that bridge, we will lose all tactical advantage of the bridge. They will have crossbowmen on the other side, and frankly, that'll be a fucking total disaster for us in this battle. I'm going to have to try to blitz to the line here, just like in dodgeball where you guys run to the line. Maybe nobody's played dodgeball, but there's a stage where you run to the line at the beginning of the game to get the balls. We're effectively going to be running to this bridge as fast as we fucking possibly can, and trying to essentially win the bridgehead here. Right? It's a race to the bridge. We'll get a few more companions. We'll stick these guys in the 8th Corps down here, and away we go here. Now, after we get to the bridgehead, if we succeed, we're going to spread archer wings out on the side. I see an alarming amount of guys in bathrobes here, low-level peasants. They're roaring like lions, but these guys are meek. All right, archers spread out on the side, and let's charge with everybody here. We just got to get in here aggressively. I'll wield my axe and wade into battle here. It looks like our cav just barely got to the bridge in time. Their infantry's coming up to meet it. But ultimately, the race was successful. All right, let's spread out archer wings on both sides here. I don't know what kind of crossbow or archer divisions they're going to have. Let's stick the 5th on the right side, and this 4th Corps, I think we'll put them over here on the left. They've got quite a few crossbowmen that are starting to spread out, though. And as usual in these battles, we are outnumbered. So unlike the battle against the Batanians, where victory is assured, there's no certainty here. This is a very large force of Vlandians, and it does look like they're getting infantry through our cav lines here. Let's get these archers and 8th Corps spread out even more. I want to have our 8th Corps protected if we are going to attack Epicrucia after this endless fucking battles. If the enemy ever allows us to attack and defend Epicrucia, we need as many of our 8th Corps up and ready to fight as possible. If you don't know if your nobles are less than 10%, or if you're less than 10%, you can't fight in the next battle. If you're at 6, 7, 8%, and the battle starts, you're just not in the battle. I guess like you're lying in a tent somewhere on a cot trying to get better. So I've got to make sure these guys are above 10%. I've got to make sure I'm above 10%. So I just sent our infantry line in. That was the 1st. The 6th is already in there. And now my job basically here is to sweep away any of the guys that get to the edges here of the battle. We're pounding them at range. Our javelin guys are going to work. This is definitely a good situation for us. It was tenuous there before we got to the bridge. I was nervous that we weren't going to be able to get to the bridge. Of course, if we didn't get to the bridge there, we might have lost this battle. The quality of my troops, though, in this battle is alarming. I see guys with bathrobes. I see fucking recruits. I see Otroks and other fucking tier 1 infantry. And that's because our army at this stage is just fucking exhausted. A true war of attrition. The enemy seems to have way more troops and endless troops. And we've just got our one army here holding back this avalanche of enemy forces. I've got a strong shield wall line here. That's the first. Get off. And it's a maul fest in this battle right now. But that's because we've held the bridge. If we can hold that bridge and keep them from charging across with a ton of cavalry, then victory is assured. I'm going to have to chop my way through their heavy horse just to get to their units. In fact, let's pull some of these horsemen out of here because there's so much chaos on the bridge here. We can't even make forward progress here. Okay, they've got infantry that are kind of tucked in here in the midst of all these dead horses, dismounted horses. It looks like they're sending up another cav line, but this is a weak cav line. I want to get a hold of that line with my axe. These are sharpshooters and strong crossbowmen. Got to watch out for these guys. They've got weak cav now on us. But at this stage, we're going to be able to, I think, we're going to be able to push our way through this bridge. Nevertheless, we've got incredible archer support. You can see the arrows raining in on the side here. Our archers are, oh shit, now the enemy does too. I'm going to move myself towards the mass of my troops here as protection. And we might even try to jump over all this and get onto the other enemy's side, right? You make these bridge rushes here. What you don't want is you don't want to get stacked up on the bridge just like the enemy was there. You want to be able to burst through, spread out your troops, and start to make tactical moves. If you can flank, all that stuff. You can't do any of that if you're stuck behind fucking 1,000 of your own troops. So we're going to try to jump over half this troop mass here and try to burst through. Of course, in real life, I don't think a horse would attempt that, but I'm also not like a master horseman in real life. Logically, I think a horse would not be thrilled about jumping into that huge mass of people. All right, so they have a huge amount of crossbowmen here, but we are bursting across, and we're going to do exactly what the enemy wasn't able to do, right? We're going to be able to flank and trounce these enemies. Actually, they're trying to reform here. That's a terrible mistake by them. I've got a cav line in the 8th Corps, my elite knights following me right now, and this is just going to be a trample fest. Of course, there's another fucking huge line of troops, so we're going to set up another line of archers and infantry here and try to cut down as many of these archers as we can. They have a huge amount of crossbow, and these are like middle-tier crossbow. They're not the best, but they're still more than capable of dropping you with a bolt. Looks like these guys are coming up, considering firing away here. They look like a quasi-routing. I've played enough battles at this stage that I can almost feel the body language of an enemy army. They're sort of backpedaling a little tenuously, and then they charge and backpedal. That's a sign that an army is close to routing, right? Their morale is fading. They're wavering. They're oscillating. They're vacillating, whatever word you want to choose, right? They're indecisive about attacking, and so we're going to make the decision for them. We're going to attack and try to fucking push these guys off this battlefield. I show them that even their banner knights are fucking helpless against our assault. Yeah, see, every time they roar, that's a sign that they're turning to fight. We want to continue this onslaught here to try to destroy their morale. I don't actually quite know how the system works. Maybe someone could explain it to me if they know, but they basically have a morale meter, and if it drops below X point, right, point 50 or 30 or something like that, then they run. And then as they get more reinforcements, that morale gauge will come up, or if they get some kills, that morale gauge will come up, and then they'll turn to fight. In this case, we want to kill as many of their guys as possible, which is both realistic and I think how the system works. You behead enough of their guys, and the rest of their archers are like, you know what? That homestead that I had back at home with that pretty little Vlandian wife, that's a lot more attractive than being ran over by a heavy horseman and getting sliced open by a giant polearm. Fuck this. And so we want to encourage them to do precisely that. Routing enemies is our best way to minimize casualties in this battle. Nevertheless, yeah, see, they're turning again. These guys want to fight. It's like their bodies want to, but their brains won't let them. Maybe it's the other way around. A boxer, when a boxer's getting knocked out, mentally they want to keep fighting, but their bodies won't let them, right? They get all spongy-legged. Yeah, these guys are routing. We've got archers on the hill here just to encourage them, just to shoot them in the back. And see, just again, they just turn. They start shooting at me. So we got a stubborn enemy force here. And there's a good probability they have a very high level, or maybe multiple high level lords leading their army. That's why they're not routing. Just like real life, you know, if you had a George Washington commanding your army, even if you were outnumbered, even if it looked dire, you knew you had, you know, this X factor in the battle, and you might continue to fight well beyond where you normally would. This is human nature, right? If you have a reliable, heroic commander who's got charisma, who's got a great understanding of how to win a difficult battle, you're much more likely to stay in the fight than if you're fighting with, you know, some dipshit commander who's renowned for losing over and over again, right? Castor, that fucking dipshit in my campaign, he's just a digital pixel. I obviously understand that his troops don't have morale. Actually, his troops do have morale, and that might even be the reason he loses so often. His troops get to the battlefield as soon as they suffer 20% casualties. They all like, oh god, here goes Castor again, trying to make our wives all widows. Fuck this, we're out of here. And that seems to happen over and over with him. It would be nice if like you could see a record, sort of the win-loss record of your companion lords in battles, because I would love to see Castor's. His is probably something incredibly ignominious, right? Those Mike Tyson Punch-Out fans. I recognize most of you guys probably never played that. It's like an ancient game. I think it was Nintendo, like one of the first Nintendo games. He's like that Glass Joe guy at the beginning, where he's got like 6 wins and 38 losses or something like that. He's just the fodder there to be destroyed by the rest of the boxers. That's Castor, this fucking dipshit. Like I said, I would literally, even if it would cause relationship gain, I would behead my own noble lord, because he leads armies and they just lose. Oh my god, man, I need a fucking break. I need this endless enemy forces to stop. In fact, I think today we're gonna cut this episode short. We'll have the defense of Epicrotia. There's another force of Vlandians here. I was gonna say we'll call it good, but evidently enough of those forces. I'm not quite sure how the mechanics of that work. They retreated, and yet they still want to fight. But obviously, the guys who just retreated, they're never going to have any chance fighting our force here. So in this situation, I don't actually mind fighting this. I've got a bunch of recruits. These guys can be upgraded as they roar into battle. By the way, that's called that mod is called Battle. I think it's called Immersive Battlefield. And I've been kind of tinkering with it on and off. I'm not sure if it's better or worse for sort of the cinematographic feel of the battle. Let me know what you think. But I think it's fucking great. These guys come up roaring, bunch of peasants, and of course your commanders all call out the commands here. It's a nice little immersive mod. All right, so what we're going to try to do here is farm these guys for EXP, farm them for troop upgrades. So I've got archers on both flanks. I've got a cav line there in a square right at the head of the bridge. I don't actually mind if some of their troops filter through, because I want some of this low-level infantry, some of these fucking recruits and whatnot, to get some kills, right? I've had an episode already that talks about upgrading your infantry. People suffer a lot of injuries to infantry and a lot of casualties. Well, this is your way to upgrade them. Fight a weak force. Look at these recruits running around with their little sickle. Fight these guys in a situation where you're going to maul the enemy. You can see the enemy sort of filtering through, and you'll suffer some losses, right? These guys are wearing fucking sheets and little cloth fucking shirts for armor, but we outnumber them now. Like, we've shot down enough of their guys that we're pouring in here on these recruits, and these guys can get, you know, a little blacksmith on blacksmith hammer action. Almost sounds like a porn episode, blacksmith on blacksmith. But these guys are pouring in here. The screen is almost entirely green. This Vlandian force that just stubbornly fucking obstinately refused to just capitulate. We're going to get some EXP from. Their death is our gain. And then we can finally take the break I was talking about a second ago. I don't know, maybe there's more fucking armies coming. That's what it seems like. It seems absolutely fucking never ending. And all we're trying to do here is just defend our capital. So 64 more upgrades, only 7 deaths. That kind of a ratio is outstanding. You know what we're going to do? We're taking you prisoner. Erdurand. You're fucking taken prisoner. I'm going to behead some Vlandians. The Vlandians' forces were part of the reason that we lost. We lost a battle about a week ago in game time. That was actually yesterday for me, these battles. It seems like a year's worth, but all this has happened in the last 2 days of real life. We're going to execute some Vlandian lords here. These motherfuckers like to defeat us in battle. We're gonna give these guys the ultimate punishment. So like I said, we will be back for hopefully, I mean, I don't know, hopefully the ultimate defense here of Epicrotia. We're going to heal up a little bit here. I've got a few Lord Companion armies that I can join that maybe will give our force, maybe we'll be up to 600 or 700 by the time we heal, but I can't wait that long because I have other castles that are under siege. They're actively beating down the defenses of Epicrotia, so we have no choice here in our campaign. Desperate times, right? Desperate measures. We're going to take on this force here at Epicrotia. We'll probably wait for the dawn here, just like the Rohirrim, right? And we will launch into battle. Pick up this little coward noble, and then I will be back. So thanks again for watching, friends. This has been a marathon. I've rather enjoyed it despite all my curses. It's been fun, and we will be back to take on this Khuzait force. So thanks again for watching, friends. I'll see you guys next time.